The heat wave continues throughout the Midwest, and so do the big crowds through the turnstiles at Busch Stadium. Ozzie Smith statue, the Hall of Famer, just outside the ballpark. We're in downtown St. Louis, and tonight, Game 1 between the Colorado Rockies and the St. Louis Cardinals. And welcome to Cardinals Baseball with my partner tonight, Rick Horton. I'm Dan McLaughlin. And you think about yesterday, Rick, really a big win for the Cardinals to salvage a game in the series, and the back end of the bullpen made that lead stick.
And the manager said yesterday it was the most important win for this club all season long. And managers don't like to say that, so I think it was important. We'll see if there's a carryover effect in this series.
And let's see if we turn the page on the month of June, if there's a carryover effect for Kyle Loesch. He was terrific last month, and really he's been great all year.
Other than the month of May, Kyle Loesch has been as consistent as anybody in this Cardinal rotation. His last 4 outings, he's gone 7+ innings. Josh Outman, the lefty, is from St. Louis. He'll go for the Rockies. They are under a 75-pitch limit, so he's not going to go 7 innings. We'll see what Jim Tracy does with his bullpen.
How about this pitch count, the limit for the starters of the Rockies?
I'm not fully sure I understand exactly what they're trying to do, but I do understand that they've struggled, and they really haven't gotten much better since they've gone to this 4-man rotation. I think the key is they're just trying to find some formula that works, some formula that gives them a chance to win games. I do know they can hit.
Yeah, it's been a struggle this season for Colorado, and they're trying anything. Jim Tracy mixes up his rotation, pitch counts, whatever may work. We'll take a look at the Rockies next. First look at the Rockies this season, so to get you all caught up on what Colorado has done so far this year, here's Rick.
The Colorado Rockies are 3 months into their 20th Major League season, and so far, it's been anything but a Rocky Mountain high in 2012. Troy Tulowitzki, the face of the franchise, has already missed more than a month and will likely miss 2 more months with an upper leg injury. The starting rotation, led by opening day starter Jeremy Guthrie, has been a disaster. The starters' combined ERA is the worst in baseball, worst in franchise history, and very nearly the worst since 1921. Things got so bad, manager Jim Tracy decided to move to a 4-man rotation and limit his starters to 75 pitches an outing, relying on a heavy dose of relief pitching. So far, the experiment has produced mixed results. What has worked for Colorado is the offense. Currently the most potent lineup in the league, Colorado is channeling the old Blake Street Bombers, leading the National League in home runs and ranked in the top 3 in all other offensive categories. The linchpin of the lineup, Carlos Gonzalez. The Triple Crown threat is among the league leaders in every offensive category, but he's gotten help from Michael Kadire and Tyler Colvin, 2 offseason additions. Speedy center fielder Dexter Fowler has started to produce, and rookie catcher Willeen Rosario is also a bat to watch. Cardinals also can't forget about Todd Helton and Jason Giambi. They're at the end of their careers, but they're still 2 of the game's better hitters.
All right, Rick, thanks. We'll take a look at David Freese. He's trying to make the National League All-Star team, and you can help him. A look at that when we come back. Cardinals shortstop Rafael Furcal will be a starter for the National League. That'll be his 3rd appearance. Meanwhile, for Carlos Beltran, a return to Kansas City, his 7th appearance in the All-Star game. And fans, you have the final say. Vote for David Freese as the final National League All-Star. Go to Cardinals.com, cast your All-Star game final vote, and send Freese to the All-Star game in Kansas City. Voting will end July 5th at 3. So, Rick, why should David Freese be a part of the All-Star team?
His defense has been good, but his offense is better than any of the other choices, Dan. More home runs, more RBIs than the other guys on the list. David Freese was great in October. He's been outstanding in the Cardinals lineup so far in 2012. He is in the lineup tonight against the Rockies.
He will bat 7th. We know that Yadier Molina will be there, his 4th appearance. Lance Lynn, his 1st. Game 1 with the Rockies next. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Bud Light, the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. By your Mid-America Chevy dealers, the #1 selling brand in St. Louis. Find us at stlchevy.com. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake Just Snow Equal. Beautiful look at downtown St. Louis and Busch Stadium. Camera angle from out in center field, and a look at the Southwest Airlines lineup Young, Scudero, and Gonzalez. Then Kadire, the former Twin. Colvin, the former Cub. Pacheco, Nelson, Rosario, and Outman. Kyle Loesch getting the start for St. Louis.
4 straight good starts for Kyle Loesch. He has been a guy with a lot of control his entire career. This year, no exception. 1.5 walks per 9 innings.
And the first pitch hammered on, but fouled back off the bat of EY Jr. Eric Young Jr. His dad played for the Colorado Rockies and was an all-star back in the early 90s. And now the first base coach for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Not saying that necessarily he should be one, but you could make the case that Kyle Loesch could have put his resume in there for the All-Star game as he pops off the mound to make that play.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. You add the fact that 2 or 3 games he should have won to add on top of those victories he already has. It's 7.
Cardinals are 3rd in the National League in defense. Holiday, Jay, and Beltran in the outfield. Freeze for Kyle, Descalso, and Craig along the infield. Yadier Molina, the 4-time All-Star, now behind the plate. Loesch on the mound. That's presented by Dobbs. Touched upon it moments ago, Ricky, that Mike Matheny talked about yesterday's win as being one of the more difficult and also one of the biggest wins of the season.
Yeah, and we mentioned that managers and players alike don't really like to talk in those terms. This was a devastating loss. This was a must win. But Mike came very close to saying just that yesterday after dropping the first 2 of the series. Felt like that was a really important win for them and looking for some carryover against a Rockies team that hits very, very well. But their pitching is a mess, Dan. There's no other way to say it. Their starting pitching, their bullpen is just a mess right now.
Historically, if the season ended right now, it would be, looking at the stats, one of the worst seasons ever put together by a pitching staff, ever in the history of baseball. Marco Scudero in the 0-2. Goodbye. It's now 0-3. That means a strikeout in the first of the evening for Kyle Loesch. The series history, Rockies and Cardinals. Cardinals lead the all-time series by 1. And there have been some wild games out west.
A lot of runs both in Colorado and here, but more so in Colorado, especially in the early going when the ball was carrying there. Although there's talk now that the runs are up again in Colorado. They're back to who they were when they first started.
Pre-Humidor. Humidor has been in play since 2002.
Their pitching may have something to do with that, too.
Carlos Gonzalez, this guy is a outstanding player, very good defender and puts up big numbers at the plate. Lone representative of the Rockies for the All-Star game in Kansas City. 0-1 pitch. 0-2, and Loesch looks sharp early on.
Sure does. Good slider, good curveball. Loesch will mix in a changeup. That's also a plus pitch for him. Cargo at the plate. The Rockies personnel call him a guy who has not only 5 tools, but he brings all 5 tools to the park every day and uses them.
1-2. He'll be part of the home run derby and the first to do so since Matt Holliday wore that uniform and did that at AT&T Park. 1-2 pitch. 2-2. Gonzalez was saying before the ball game tonight, looking back at his career, he said in 8 months he went from a top prospect to a guy that picked up a huge contract close to $85 million. Whirlwind tour for him in those 6 to 8 months. So he drops one in front of Holliday. The base hit, 2-out hit for Gonzalez.
The offense has been good for the Rockies. A lot of their players know how to use all fields. Todd Helton has always known how to do that. They've even gotten Tyler Colvin to do that, who's in the lineup today. We will not see Dexter Fowler today, but we will see him tomorrow. He's been phenomenal this year. He plays center.
They were shut out yesterday 2-0, and Fowler had 2 of their hits and yet not in the lineup tonight.
A bit of a sore shoulder. It's not a big deal, but he's been a big part of their offense, and
It's an offense you have to respect. Kadire has always been a professional hitter.
Hitting streak now for Gonzalez at 10 games after dropping in that base hit to left. This is Michael Kadire, longtime American League player with the Minnesota Twins. And Minnesota was sad to see him go. Their fan base fell in love with this guy, and they did offer him a multi-year deal, but came up short in terms of money as opposed to what Colorado was able to offer. 3 years and $31 million, and some believe that the Rockies may have overpaid for Kadire. But Dan O'Dowd, the general manager of the Rockies, saying that he wanted to change the culture inside their clubhouse. It was a losing team a year ago, and he thought this would be the perfect guy to do it. So they overpaid maybe a bit for his services between the white lines, but not for what they get inside that clubhouse.
They have to be careful about their culture going forward with a team that's struggling so much in the pitching department. You can start to think that's what the norm is. You bring up young pitchers and you see what the veterans are doing. They don't have a lot of veterans on this staff anyway, but really nobody producing at this point, and that's something you're going to have to deal with.
Here's a 1-2 and a liner that's caught at second base, taken in by Descalso. Rockies strand a runner. Cardinals coming up in the home half of the first. Here's a look at the Cardinals lineup presented by Southwest Airlines. For Cal, Jay, and Holiday. Then Beltran, Craig, Molina, Freeze, Descalso, and Loesch. Presented by Southwest Airlines. There's no score here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis.
I like that view out in center field. You get a chance to see Busch Stadium at its finest. That's the look of the left-handed pitcher who's from Lindbergh High School here in St. Louis, Josh Outman. ERA over 9, has some big league experience already, but is one of the 4 left-handed starters now named to be their rotation. And I feel like when we talk about their starter, Dan, we should also talk about their piggyback starter, because we're only going to see him for about 75 pitches, and then we're going to see Tyler Chatwood, who comes to the park knowing he's going to pitch next.
No matter what.
No matter what. Well,
unless he would get through 9 and 70 pitches,
which that's not going to happen. Or
right. If
there's a jam and there's a couple of guys on base, they do not want their second starter to come in the middle of an inning. They want him to start an inning.
Switch hitting Raphael for Cal. Josh Outman, as Rick told you, from Lindbergh High School. He grew up a Cardinals fan. The 27-year-old was a Phillies 10th round pick in 2005. He was part of the Joe Blanton deal. His major league experience prior to this season was with the Oakland A's. He pitched at Forest Park Community College and then went on to Central Missouri State and pitched for the Mules. Very good program in Warrensburg. Ground ball that's hit to short. Marco Scutaro is there. 1 away. Gonzalez, Young, and Colvin in the outfield. Pacheco, Scutaro, Nelson, Kadire along the infield. Behind the plate, Rosario. They are dealing with injuries as well. When you talk about the Colorado Rockies, their defense has been poor this year, and they missed their all-star shortstop Troy Tulowitzki. Tulowitzki is out with a groin issue and is going to miss even more time. He's already missed over a month.
6 weeks or more he'll be out, and he does so much, as you mentioned, the defense of Tulowitzki, but he's a powerhouse offensively too. And they've got enough offense, frankly, but you can't really replace your leader up the middle. He's an all-star, and they miss him, but again, he can't pitch for Jim Tracy, and that's what he needs most. I'm sure there are many friends and family of Josh Outman that are rooting for him and watching our telecast, but I still think there's something off-putting about having a starting pitcher who starts a game out of the stretch. Always thought that was a bad sign.
Notice the stirrups. That is the official Major League Baseball way. You see those are not painted onto the sock. And my understanding is that if it's painted on the sock, that is illegal. So technically, that is a Major League official stirrup being worn. The high socks, and he wears number 88. One out walk, and it brings in the red hot Matt Holliday, former Rocky and first bank first take. Most in home runs allowed, last in ERA, third most in walks, and opponents hitting close to 300. Adds up to a pitching staff that is taking it on the chin this year. Since mid-June, Matt Holliday is hitting close to 500. Visit here with the catcher Rosario and Outman. Outman, his last 5 outings, 24 runs in 20 innings. He's had back-to-back games where the Rockies offense, as you mentioned, Rick, it's been fine. They've given him a lead, provided plenty of runs, and he has not gotten the job done. Here's a 1-0 pitch. That scoots away. John Jay advancing to second base.
The young catcher has tools. We're talking about Willeen Rosario behind the plate. He's got a very strong arm, and he's done a lot offensively as a rookie, but he's still learning how to catch. That's not his fault, clearly. That ball nowhere near the strike zone, but he is a star of the future, no question about it. He has 13 homers and 35 RBIs, but a number of pass balls, and he's had trouble blocking pitches as well.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. Nowhere close, 3-0. So clearly control has been an issue for this lefty, and let's see if they turn Holliday loose on 3-0.
Looking in the rule book about your comment about illegal socks. I haven't found it yet.
Dig deep. And I know you will. We've got a long night ahead. 3-1.
Now you're saying it's a baseball rule, not like a United States rule or something.
MLB.
Okay. You said illegal. I'm just clarifying.
Glad we cleared that up. 3 balls, 1 strike, and time is called by Holliday. It's now 13 walks in 28 innings for this lefty. Back-to-back following the ground out by Fracao. There is Rick Horton looking over the official rule book of Major League Baseball,
which, by the way, has David Freese on the cover. You know you've made it when you're on the cover of the rule book. And that means you should vote for him for the All-Star game.
Summer Garcia next to you is working diligently on our question. Can't stop him. Runners at first and second with 1 out. Carlos Beltran saying before the game how emotional it will be for he and his family back in Kansas City and back at the All-Star game in Kansas City. Parents saw his first ever Major League at bat.
Has been interesting to hear Carlos talk about the thrill that he's going to have. You know, you expect that some players, and we see some players, can get jaded in this game. You get a little blasé when you've been around for a while. But when Beltran was talking about getting a chance to play as an All-Star back in Kansas City, he was very emotional.
Runners go. The 1 does. That's from second to third and safe. John Jay. Holliday stayed put at first base, and Jay steals a bag. May notice that's John Mabry at first, the first base coach, and Chris Maloney moving from first base to third base. Awfully close.
Jon Jay has been running a lot in this homestand. Stolen base number 7 for him. And I like that move. He's at third base with less than 2 outs.
Outfield is straight away for Carlos Beltran. 2 balls and no strikes. In the air out to right. The 2-1 pitch, plenty deep. Jay will tag up, and it's 1-0 St. Louis. RBI for Beltran. That's number 62.
Stolen base for Jay becomes very important. Matt Holliday doesn't go, but that's not really his fault. If you don't read it right away, you don't want to get thrown out at second base. So can't fault Matt Holliday on not being at second, but you can credit Jon Jay for getting himself into scoring position.
Now Alan Craig, who homered here yesterday.
One of the reasons that the Rockies are going to the 75 pitch limit is to try to train their pitchers to get as many first pitch strikes and as many quick outs as possible.
You know what's funny is when the Rockies went to the World Series and when they made it into postseason play, we didn't hear about this. Certainly not conventional way to go about things as the ball scooted away and Holliday advances to second base.
Without being harsh on it and kicking them while they're down, the fact remains that really this 75 pitch limit has not really changed much of what's happened out of the Rockies rotation because they were only going 3 innings anyway.
Statistically, it's gotten worse. One ball, 1 strike on Alan Craig. High delivery popped up. The grass in the outfield behind second base, and it's put away. Matt Holliday with a walk. He's left stranded, but the Cardinals grab an early lead. Carlos Beltran has driven in 62 to lead the National League. And our keys to the game take us to the starter tonight, and that's Kyle Lohse.
ERA over 5 for the month of May, but otherwise just spectacular season so far for Lohse. Again, he could have some other wins where the bullpen lost the game late. Think of 2 for sure, probably 3. So a 10-2 season might make him an all-star. You look at the body of work of Kyle Lohse and just like the consistency. His approach has been the same every game.
This pitch is popped up on the infield. That's Freeze, foul territory, and Tyler Colvin is retired.
What you like about him, Dan, is his command of the strike zone. Not, you know, we talk about command. It's just not just throwing strikes. Is where is the pitch within the strike zone, and Lohse, to me, is a master at that.
Colvin has arguably been their hottest bat. Pacheco digs in, hitting .302, 1 home run. He's driven in 16. Has there been a better signing in baseball than that of Carlos Beltran? A 2-year deal, and now leading the league in RBIs, and you know he's got a chance to, before it's all said and done, lead the league in home runs, RBIs, and who knows where that average may wind up. Out to deep left. Holiday back. And he's got it. Cardinals and dynamic pricing gives fans access to great deals for games throughout the year. And the next one will be Sunday against Miami. $35 for field level tickets. That's the t-shirt giveaway for the kids. They can run the bases after the game, ice cream before the game. And those tickets will not last long. That's the dynamic deal. Front page of Cardinals.com. Another young player, and that's Chris Nelson.
Rockies have been very happy with the play of the three hitters at the bottom of the lineup here. Pacheco leads the National League rookies with his batting average over 300. Nelson's played well. Rosario, the catcher, with the pop and the RBI. So they're really happy with those guys. They've just been overshadowed because of the losing and because of the pitching problem.
These two teams really catch a break tonight. 84 degrees game time temperature. Dropped off considerably. It's like a cold front just came through at 84. Here's a ground ball to short for Kyle. Gloves and throws and makes the play. Molina frees Descalso coming up. It's 1-0 Birds.
One nothing Cardinals, bottom of the second inning. St. Louis native Josh Outman, the lefty, pitching for Colorado. He is part of the Rockies experiment. Through June 18th, they did it the normal way, 25-40 as a team. The starters ERA at 6.2, and since then they've gone to a four-man rotation, 75 pitch maximum. Bullpen's getting a lot of work, and getting a lot of work quickly in ball games, but really the numbers have not changed very much.
So 20 pitches for this lefty. On a hop to second base. Molina retired, and there's one away. Remember, they broke camp with 49-year-old Jamie Moyer in their rotation. And if there was ever a situation that might be the perfect one for Jamie Moyer, maybe it's this.
A short inning starter.
Exactly.
Somebody with experience. I think Dan O'Dowd, the general manager of the Rockies, is just trying to shake things up a bit. And really, they're just trying to teach their pitchers, you know what, you only have 75 pitches. Let's see how many outs you can get with them. And it may take a while for them to develop that understanding. If you want to get a win, you have to go 5 innings. That means you better not walk very many guys. And again, it hasn't worked yet, but maybe it will.
You did both. You were a starter and a reliever. As a starter, would this drive you crazy, knowing that you're in a game, you only get 75 pitches? There's a base hit into right. You know, for some guys, and we saw it the other night, actually twice in the series against Miami. I'll use Carlos Zambrano as a great example. Terrible first inning, 5 unearned runs, and then settles in and actually had a chance to win the game.
I think the stronger kind of starters, think about somebody like Danny Cox, who could really pitch all day and kind of just a workhorse, a big innings guy. That would be a little bit harder for somebody like Danny. You think about a pitcher who's used to kind of going back and forth from the bullpen to the rotation. A short start's not an abnormal thing. So for me, no, but for somebody like Danny Cox, or you think of recent pitchers, boy, so many of them, Andy Bennis, Woody Williams. I mean, those guys want the ball for 9 innings, and so I think it would drive them crazy for sure.
Sure.
Try to take the ball out of Chris Carpenter's hand after 75 pitches.
Yeah, good luck. Right. No thanks. This is Daniel Descalso. Pitch in the dirt, nowhere close. 2 balls and no strikes. Is he on that pitching rubber? Doesn't look to be.
There have been pitchers that have been known to take a little bit more leeway than that.
Here's a 2-0.
The guy who was most known for that was Nolan Ryan. He would do it out of the windup. He would take a step back, and everybody's so worried about and watching his fastball that he would plant his foot about a foot in front of the rubber. like he really needed that extra miles per hour, but nobody ever caught him.
You grew up a fan of the New York Mets.
I did.
What was that like your first time going back to New York and pitching against the Mets, knowing mom and dad are there, family and friends, very similar to what this lefty is doing here tonight?
Well, it becomes a stadium that's really the big leagues to you. He pitches in Colorado. He's been in the American League, and yes, that's the major leagues on one level. But to him, this is really the big leagues from the mind of the boy that came here and watched games and now gets a chance to participate. So Shea Stadium was old and decrepit, and nobody liked going there. But to me, it was always a special place to pitch. And I'm sure it is for him here tonight.
They say that when Outman was at Lindbergh High School, his delivery was just absolutely off the charts crazy. It was one of the oddest deliveries you'd ever see. And he was taught an odd delivery by his dad. And our understanding is that the idea was to save his arm, and that as he progressed and got at higher levels of baseball, they changed him more to what we see now, the more traditional windup or working from the stretch. It takes all kinds.
Well, and there's an evolution of a pitcher's mechanics. What works when you're 12 may have to change a bit when you're 18 and then when you're 25.
It picks up the strikeout of Daniel Descalso. 2 down, and it brings in Kyle Loesch. Where did you go to school? St. Louis born active players. Ryan Howard set to come off the DL at some point this year. Max Scherzer, thoughts and prayers with him and his family with the passing of his brother. Ross Detweiler, Wentzville, Josh Outman, and Scott Van Slyke, the son of Andy Van Slyke, beat the Cardinals on Sunday Night Baseball earlier this year. You and Andy are very, very tight, and I'm sure that was a special moment for you. You grew up knowing that certain guys around you helped you get to that level of the big leagues, and you're one of the guys that helped Scott Van Slyke.
Well, you know, I watched Scott grow up, and very excited for him along with the Van Slyke family. And, you know, it's a special thing. It's a celebration. You know, it's a celebration for folks at Lindbergh High School today. They're here at the ballpark. That he's getting a chance to do at the highest level in the world what he's wanted to do since he was a student at Lindbergh High School. And I'm sure his family feels just elated, and regardless of the result, it's a special night for him.
Two 2-0 on Kyle Loesch. Short lead at first. 2-1.
Joe Baver was a teammate of mine in the 80s, and he went to Lindbergh High School.
Two and two.
He had a very good collegiate career and threw a knuckle curve out of the Cardinals bullpen for a couple of years.
Talk to old school baseball guys, and they can't even stand the idea of pitch counts, period, much less 75 pitches.
Well, it makes you think about whether or not teams would have a different approach, knowing that the pitcher's only going to be out there for a while. You know, if he's pitching really well, I would say innings 3 and 4, you take a lot of pitches. I mean, why not? Try to work a count. Loesch is working the count here. Pitch count's already at 36.
Well, what about from Jim Tracy's point of view, too? 4 2/3. He's at 75 pitches, but laboring or trying to get through an inning. Team has a big lead. You want to get him one more out, qualifies for a victory.
Well, I think what goes through your mind is the general manager says 75. And you work for him. I'm sure that goes through his mind, don't you?
So you're saying the hook is coming.
Yeah. Either you get him or we get you.
2-2 pitch. Making him work.
Jim Tracy, we've had a chance to visit with him a number of times. You can hardly find a nicer guy in the game of baseball. He's an outstanding manager. It's his 11th season in the big leagues. 5 with the Dodgers, 2 with the Pirates, now 3 with Colorado. And he's got a good temperament for this.
Manager of the year in 2009. And Loesch just got a piece. He stays alive. Jim Tracy was the second Rocky manager to win that award. You may think that Clint Hurdle was the other. It was not. It was Don Baylor. I'm not sure he got a piece of that.
Me either. You think Outman has the pitch count in the back of his head somewhere?
Absolutely.
It's on the board if he can't remember.
2-2. This winds up one way or another to be a very good at bat. Pitch count gets up. And that's taken low. Loesch draws the walk. Third walk by Outman. One nothing lead for St. Louis. Top of the lineup. Switch hitting Rafael Furcal. Way back week continues. A look at the '93 Cardinals tomorrow at 6:30. Toyota Cardinals Live. Furcal grounded out to short. Voted in as a all-star and a starter by the fans. There were over 40 million votes for the all-star game. Josh Hamilton had 11 million himself. For Furcal, it'll be his third Midsummer Classic. Have an update on Lance Berkman coming up in the third inning with Jim Hayes. That is Bo McLaughlin, no relation. He was at AAA. Bob Apodaca resigned. And Jim Wright, their bullpen coach, and the AAA coach, Bo McLaughlin, they share the duties. Co-pitching coaches. They help each other get through the nights.
Sometimes you just need a friend.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. The check swing, 1-1. Apodaca was in his 10th season. One ball, one strike with 2 on and 2 outs. Time is called. The Rockies last year 4th in the West. They were 73 and 89. They actually started out the season 11-2 and finished up with their worst record since 2005. 2 balls and 1 strike. Three and 1.
There are other greater St. Louis area natives that did not make our graphic earlier. Mark Burley was actually born in St. Charles, and Josh Tolley from the east side. Of course, they're St. Louis area natives, but we were choosing the folks actually born in St. Louis. Kyle McClellan didn't even make our list because he's not active, but we are hoping that he will be somewhere down the road.
David Freese, if you're wondering, was born down south and then moved. for Cowell. A liner to left, and the catch is made. Cardinals strand 2. Jim Hayes coming up. Lots of injury updates to get to. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by the new wireless receiver from AT&T Uverse. Visit att.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. By MyKiaSt.Louis.com. And right now at Jack in the Box, you can try the new Chipotle Chicken Club combo for just $4.99 plus tax. Always nice to have a chance to visit with Jim Hayes, and he joins us here in the 3rd inning. 1-0 St. Louis. A hit aside as Outman has been in trouble both innings, but Kyle Loesch on the other side has been very effective so far tonight. 33-year-old trying to go to 8-2 and coming off a fine start against Miami last time out. Outman at 46 pitches, and that is number 23 for Kyle Loesch, and we're underway here in the top of the 3rd. We saw a shot, Jim, of Lance Berkman moments ago, and he's working out, jogging a little bit. Liner into right center. That'll be caught. It's good to see Berkman back here in St. Louis.
Yeah, he had been rehabbing from the surgery to repair the meniscus tear back in Houston. Rejoined the Cards to continue his rehab, and today he was jogging, actually took some swings against soft toss, and he says the knee feels great, and he's talking about hopefully sometime right after the All-Star break. He thinks he could be ready. Depends on a lot of things, his health, also how long it takes him to knock the rust off and get his timing back. But he feels great, and he's very optimistic about returning shortly.
Here is Outman, and you see that shot there of Lance Berkman to his right talking to Matt Carpenter. Neat story there. Matt Carpenter, who grew up in the state of Texas, said he idolized Lance Berkman, and even when he made it to the big leagues, at his parents' house, still has a room. Not that he's living there, because he's married now and he's moved on. He's grown up a little bit, but there is a huge poster of Lance Berkman in that room, his idol. And he said he has been better than he ever could have imagined. He said he's been arguably the best teammate he's ever had. And he said, you think about it, here I am filling in for Lance Berkman, having all kinds of success early on. Great opening day, and the guy that is always there to put his arm around me and high fives, talking to me about the game, Lance Berkman.
I think he wants to call him sir every once in a while.
Probably.
Or Mr. Berkman.
I would think so.
I wouldn't be surprised if some of the current Cardinals have Lance Berkman posters on their walls at home. He's that popular, and for a guy, you know, who's been out of the picture as he rehabbed back home, these guys were eagerly anticipating his arrival. Not a guy who's playing, but just to have him around the clubhouse. I think it was Skip Schumacher who said Berkman is the undisputed leader of this ball club, so they're glad he's back.
You know, Ricky, we hear about it all the time, but the chemistry in the clubhouse, why is it so important in this sport as opposed to maybe some others?
I think it's because you play 162 games. It's 6 months. You travel together, live together, play every day together, and anybody that's in an office knows how important it is for people to get along when you're in a work environment. And why would baseball be any different? And I think the frustration of this game on a daily basis, the stuff that you deal with in terms of performance, because you get your head beat in 4 or 5 days in a row, and then the whole world's seeing it. You know, you need to have people you're close with, and you need to have the glue veterans that give that some perspective and have your back.
2-1 is tapped up the middle. Tough play here, and no play. Flying down the line, Eric Young. Just like his dad, he can flat out run.
There are those exceptions, Ricky, that players don't necessarily like each other or fight with each other for whatever reason, though. You talk about some of the old Yankee teams or the A's teams, and they would fight with each other, then go beat people out on the field.
I think that's the mistake people make when they hear the word chemistry. They assume that means you like each other, and I don't mean that. I mean that you have a way of making each other better, and you're good teammates. You might not necessarily hang out after the game together, go out to dinner, whatever it is guys do, or even necessarily like them in terms of their personality, but there's something about working together and having some synergy, whether you're fighting or hanging out or not. I think the teams that have chemistry, maybe synergy is a better word, I think they win. And again, the Oakland A's are a great example of teammates that didn't like each other, but they sure played well together.
So chemistry can be different things.
Totally.
Yeah.
Marco Scutaro is part of a team that collapsed a year ago. He arrives at spring training, and he said the best part about it, he said there was 2 reporters there. Went right to his locker, his stall, the clubhouse, and said, hey, no issues here. I got 2 reporters. They don't want to talk to me, and I don't have to talk about the collapse of the Boston Red Sox from a year ago. He was their shortstop last year.
Am I to believe that there's some players that don't want a lot of reporters around?
I'm going to not answer that question. I knew a few.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Ground ball that's hit to short. Couple of hops, and Furcal makes the play. Big bats coming up. John Jay, Matt Holliday, Carlos Beltran. 1-0 Cards. Decal set presented by AT&T. This will be the first home game after the All-Star break, July 20th. And yes, there still are seats available for the Cubs series and that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against Chicago. Decal set presented by AT&T. Game summary: Carlos Beltran with his 62nd RBI. Loesch 3 innings. And the Cardinals have a 1-run lead. Here's John Jay. Jim Hayes is with us, and he was telling me during the break that if I don't talk about John Jay and David Freese, that he would quit. Jim, it's all yours.
What were you saying about chemistry, Ricky?
Dan had a question for you.
So tell us about John Jay and
well, you know,
his teammates they're rallying around David Freese.
Yeah.
They want to get him into the All-Star game.
He's in that final 5 vote, so John Jay has assumed the unofficial job of campaign manager. Ricky, you do a lot of the Twitter tweeting.
I retweeted what he had yesterday.
He's putting out ways you can get involved, and you can text N2 to 89269 to vote for David Freese, and he's getting that message out. You know, David is kind of uncomfortable with all the attention, so John Jay, Daniel Descalso, some of the other Cardinals are helping Freese in his push to be in the All-Star game. David's a pretty unassuming guy and would rather not be bothered about it. He would love the honor, but doesn't want to talk much about it.
You don't want to really champion that cause yourself on Twitter, I wouldn't think. But, you know, really,
Some guys might.
It's not a stretch to do it. If you look at the other players, they're all deserving guys. Chipper Jones having a good year. And you look at Michael Bourne's year, he's hitting about 300. But the RBIs and home runs of David Freese are above everybody else on that list. So it's, I think, a very natural choice.
So 5 are left to be voted in. One of the 5: Michael Bourne, David Freese, Bryce Harper, Aaron Hill, and Chipper Jones. Sentimental vote undoubtedly goes to Chipper Jones.
Yeah, that's kind of the heart vote, is Chipper Jones. Again, his numbers not as good as David Freese in terms of power numbers. Bryce Harper's really just kind of a flash vote because his numbers aren't nearly what David Freese's are, but he's of course gotten a lot of attention. Bourne, a different kind of player. Aaron Hill has had a couple of good games.
Out to deep left against his former team. It's gone. Holliday against the Rockies makes it 2-0 St. Louis. There are some that might say number 7 should be in the All-Star game. Final vote or not, but right now, this guy is one of the hottest hitters in baseball. I mentioned it before. Middle of June, he's hitting close to 500. Line him up, and here we go.
Pitch middle in, breaking ball. Holliday hits the ball down very well, and I agree wholeheartedly that Matt Holliday deserves to be an All-Star.
And I know there was a lot of talk about Cincinnati and Johnny Cueto and Brandon Phillips. And rightfully so. I mean, you can make a case for either one of those guys, but Tony La Russa easily could have said, I want to take Matt Holliday too. Didn't do it. There are other players that have been just as deserving as some that are on this team. And every year we talk about it, the omissions. And this is one for any Cardinal fan that stands out, and that's Matt Holliday not being a part of it. 1 ball and 2 strikes, and Beltran 2-0 lead for St. Louis.
How about Carlos accepting the invitation to be part of the home run derby for the first time? Ricky, as you know, some players shy away because they think it might mess with their swing or get hurt. And Carlos said it's such an honor to be part of the whole thing. He wants to take in everything, especially being in Kansas City. And Mike Matheny said, I'm not worried about Carlos. He's a professional. He knows what he's doing.
I think the older the player is, the less they're going to worry about their swing being altered or kind of messing them up. A guy that knows his swing really well. You got a good young player maybe that starts to alter his swing just to hit home runs in a home run derby, then maybe that's a different story. I'm not worried about Carlos, even though not a big fan of the home run derby, frankly.
And he draws a walk. That's 4 tonight, issued by the lefty. I didn't hear, and maybe you can inform me, but you're dealing with a switch hitter in Beltran. Which side does he want to hit from, left or right? Which is the power side? What is more comfortable? Is there a pitcher that he likes? All those things do come into play in the exhibition that is the home run derby.
Is the wind blowing out to left or right?
Good point. Alan Craig batting .315. And I think you guys would probably agree with this. If Alan Craig was healthy and put together a full first portion of the season, he'd be in the conversation for the All-Star game right now too.
He's getting an RBI per game. I mean, that's the kind of output he's giving you when he's healthy.
We've seen with Craig that he does have power to all fields. Mentioned the other day to me that he had been seeing a lot more sliders this year as opposed to even at the end of last year. And if you go back to when he had some of his success in the World Series, remember they'd bring in the hard thrower and he'd pick up a base hit to right, look towards the bench, motion to them, and it was fastballs. But we're seeing a lot more of the off-speed pitches to Alan Craig.
Well, the early book on him was to pitch him up and in because of the way he holds his bat. He has that little bit of a wrap movement that where he starts the barrel of the bat pointing towards the pitcher, and that is an indication generally that you can get somebody out up and in. But he's made good adjustments on that pitch. He handles it well, so teams have had to figure it out another way to pitch to him.
And Ricky, you may notice too, he's not as pronounced with the end of the bat, the barrel of the bat being pointed towards the pitcher. It's not quite as pronounced and going forward as it once was when he first arrived in the big leagues. It's still there, but just not as forward as it once was.
I think he has very good plate coverage, in or away, up or down.
And there is a walk. Again, nobody is up and throwing for the Rockies. And it goes back to the point that you were making earlier where, yeah, you can have a 75 pitch limit, but yet look at this outing is a perfect example of why sometimes even if he didn't have that pitch count limit, guys weren't even getting to 75.
Definitely struggling with his control, with his command, and he's nearing that point where you better get somebody up in a hurry. I think they're trying to get him through this inning. You'd think he could do that with 11 pitches and just needs to get 2 outs with that, but I don't think that's a guarantee.
And here is Yadier Molina, grounded out sharply to second base. His first time up. A guy that knows Yadi so well is Jose Oquendo, and Jose Oquendo is not at third base again tonight.
Yeah, he's feeling under the weather. They say it's a slight case of pneumonia. He's here. He's just not very strong. He's feeling better, but best wishes go out to Jose.
Runners at first and second.
By the way, do you know who was a high school teammate of Outman? Our own BJ Raines.
I did not know that.
Yeah. BJ said he was a couple years behind and didn't play all that much. Outman was a very good player.
Yadi hitting .390 with runners in scoring position. Oh, 0-2 the count on Molina. Right-hander up and loose now for Colorado. Big gap in left center field for Molina.
Tyler Chatwood is their second starter of the day, and they'll have him start next inning. If there's any more trouble with the lefty, they're going to try to get a reliever up in a hurry to finish this inning.
So do you consider it a 4-man rotation or an 8-man rotation if they're slotting two guys that are?
That's a really good question. It's a 4-man rotation with an asterisk, I guess. I don't know. I mean, you got to have 4 guys ready to throw 3 or 4 innings. Other guys ready to do that.
Here's a 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now Dan O'Dowd has said eventually it's going to jump up to 11, maybe even 12. Not far-fetched. They said, look, last year our pitching struggled. We've got young pitching on the horizon. This year, though, with the way things have gone, we're going to give this a try. Now Jim Tracy is in the final year of his deal in Colorado and being asked to do something completely unconventional. Outside, and it's 3-2. Remember when he took over the team in 2009, they were sputtering, and then they exploded to the finish, made it into postseason play, and eventually lost to the Phillies in the playoffs. Runners off with this pitch, and here comes a 3-2. Beltran is thrown out at third base. Holiday is homered. It's 2-0. Matt Holliday with a home run, his 13th, and RBI number 15. It's jumped up to a 2-run lead for St. Louis as Matt goes deep against his former team. Don't forget, we're supporting the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Great futures. They start right here. greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. Gonzalez, Kadire, and Colvin. Remember, Matt Holliday was involved in one of the most famous plays in the 20-year history of the Rockies, scoring play at the plate to send them further in the playoffs. 2007. Eventually they would make it to the World Series and then lose to the Boston Red Sox. And Carlos Gonzalez was obtained in the Matt Holliday deal in 2008. Good changeup, 2-1.
With that last RBI, Holliday now has 50 on the year, and there is not a player in the National League with that many RBIs who is not an all-star.
A real key, they say, for Gonzalez is that high leg kick. Finding consistency with that. Carney Lansford, who was with the Cardinals for a year as a hitting coach, back on April 24th, took him inside an indoor batting cage. He was hitting around 200 at that time. They talked about that leg kick as he's called out on strikes and finding consistency with that. He went 2 for 4 that night, and since then he's been one of the best hitters in baseball.
It's a timing mechanism. You lift the leg, you drop it. If you're fooled by the pitch, which he was there, you're basically already off balance, and you gotta have to have a plan B swing, and we see that with Matt Holliday at times where he'll lift his leg, he'll drop it, and it's an off-speed pitch, but he stays with it. He goes lower, 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 keeps his hands back, and is still able to drive it. And they talk about Cargo as being just like Matt Holliday. It has a different sound when those two guys hit it.
Now Michael Kadire, valuable player in the fact that he can play first, third, and the outfield. The idea was when they signed him, as we talked about earlier, a presence in the clubhouse, but also he's a gaps hitter, so they thought he'd be perfect for Coors Field, and he can play right field. For Kyle, did he get him? No. Safe at first. Tough time in the exchange going to his left. Kadire with a base hit.
Furcal goes a long way to get this ball. It's basically right back over the mound And for calls on the second base side, by the time he gets rid of that ball, it's a bang bang play, but that little bit of a trouble going from glove to hand made the difference.
Is it me, or do you think Kyle and his range has gotten better since we first saw him?
I would agree.
Meaning when we first saw him come to St. Louis.
Well, I would agree, and and
even this year.
And he's talked about the fact that he's really learning even the Cardinal pitchers and understanding with Yadier Molina working together, what are they trying to do so I can get a better jump, whether it's to my left or to my right, change-ups, fastballs. And he had a great jump on that particular ground ball up the middle, just couldn't finish the job.
Well, you played with Ozzie Smith, and Ozzie in the fantasy camp talked about his range, and when he got older, he said people forget to a certain extent I was always cheating on the carpet, Old Busch Stadium. He said, but I knew my pitching staff so well, going right, left, knowing the hitters, being in the National League so long, I could make those plays.
And it's a lot easier to do that kind of reading of a particular pitch when your pitcher does what he's supposed to be doing with that pitch. You've got a guy that's all over the place with his command. It's much harder.
High fly ball, deep right field, and it's gone. Tyler Colvin, his 9th home run, RBIs 31 and 32, and we've got a ball game. It's tied up at 2-2. It'll be tough for Jim Tracy to keep his bat out of the lineup.
Colvin struggled mightily last year and was finally convinced to stop trying to hit home runs. Well, he just did it, but he's been using line to line this year, and every once in a while you run into one, and that's what he does. Pitch will middle away and hit that ball a long way.
Here's a ground ball left side. Freese was playing in. Pacheco retired. 2 outs. You talked about it, Ricky. They've got Dexter Fowler right now on the bench. Colvin is in right field, and the great Todd Helton has seen his playing time diminish a little bit because of a bad back, which he's dealt with now for a handful of years, but they also have to see what they have at Colvin.
Helton can still hit, but his average a little under 250, and the way things have gone, why not give the young kid a chance? But it's nice to have Giambi and Todd Helton coming off your bench.
Giambi has made a living now the last 2 or 3 years being one of the better pinch hitters in the National League. First and second in runs per game, Rockies and Cardinals. They say, though, at Coors Field, it's back to the pre-Humidor days. Both sides, not just a pitching staff that has struggled, but ball seems to be jumping better than it had last couple of years. Chris Nelson, a 2-1 pitch, up and in again, 3-1.
I couldn't do it justice, Dan, but I would commend folks to Google what the Rockies do in terms of the humidor. There's a couple of interesting articles about what actually happens when you put a baseball in a humidor. There's different schools of thought about whether or not it produces long balls or not, and very interesting article.
Catch made by Jay off the bat of Nelson. We're tied up. It's 2-2. These hot days, Bank of America Club, and you have a chance to take in the food, and arguably the best part, the AC. Not bad today, though. 84 degrees, our game time temperature. And we have a new pitcher in. Outman is out. 3 innings, 2 runs, the 5 walks. Gave up a home run to Matt Holliday, and a right-hander is in. It's our Chevy call to the pen.
Tyler Chatwood, 22-year-old right-hander, last year had his rookie season with the Angels. Made 25 starts for the Angels. Not bad. 4.75 earned run average. And he has come over to be part of one of the Plan B starters for the Rockies. And he takes over in the 4th inning, and again another example of only getting through 3 innings with 70 pitches. That's what happened with the starter Josh Outman.
And only 34 strikes of those 70 pitches.
70% is good. 70% strikes, that's about 48%.
Now David Freese. 13 homers. He's driven in 48 this year. First pitch fouled away. David picked up a base hit his first time up. Freese, Descalso, and Loesch. Strike 2. He has arguably been the best surprise this year for the Rockies, and that's Colvin. That name may ring a bell. Former Cub, part of the Ian Stewart deal. 0-2 pitch.
Colvin hit just 150 a year ago with the Cubs after a 20 home run season the year before, and he was just having a miserable year. Needed a change of scenery, and he's done very well with Colorado.
Happy 12th birthday to Kelly Beekman. She's at the ballpark tonight and excited to watch Cardinals baseball. Check swing and a strikeout of David Freese.
More wins from the relievers than the starters. It's happened 3 times recently. 1997, the Oakland A's only had 29 wins out of their starters. The Rockies are on pace for the same problem. Reds, Pirates also on that list.
Here's Descalso, and he looks at a pitch outside at 95 miles an hour. Daniel came in hitting .228. Struck out his first time up. 1-0 pitch, 2-0. Rick, what about some of these guys that primarily have been starters in their careers? And as you talked about, they come in with nobody on. They start an inning, but they don't start a game. It still is different, isn't it?
Yeah, I wonder. I would assume that he warmed up in the bullpen as if he was a starter, which is a few more warm-up tosses. We saw him get up in the middle of the inning before, and had Outman not been able to get through the Cardinals' third, they would have brought in a different reliever, and he would have just kept warming up alongside. But you know, a starting pitcher is going to probably throw 50 pitches to warm up for a game.
Here's a 3-1 pitch. Oh, a liner, and it's caught at third, playing even with the bag and off the bag down at third base. Nice play by Pacheco.
A reliever, by contrast, may throw 15.
And it brings in Kyle Loesch with 2 down.
You almost get the sense that they have 8 pitchers who are auditioning.
Absolutely. Right now, there is no definite with this team. They've been dealing with injuries to a couple of their top guys. They re-signed Jeff Francis. Remember, he was very good with the Rockies previous, and he's back now with them after a brief time with Cincinnati. Dan O'Dowd saying that they would have difficulties trying to get free agents to come to Colorado as far as pitchers are concerned. No frontline starters, so let's do something that is quite unique, which is what they're doing now.
How about making a lineup card against this team? You know you're going to have one time through the lineup, maybe
Sure.
2 of facing a lefty, because all 4 of the starters are lefty. Their next guys are all right-handed. So you're turning a lineup around every single day. You have to be careful about how you use your bench if you're Mike Matheny or anybody playing the Rockies right now.
Three-two pitch. Hit out of play. Kyle Loesch, first time up, very good at bat. Drew a walk. And Outman threw nearly 12 pitches in that at bat. Three-two pitch. Fights it off. Little flare into shallow right for a base hit.
Two good at-bats for Kyle Loesch. Pitchers all celebrating.
Saw there John Mabry coaching at first base, that familiar number 47. We saw Joe McEwing a couple of weeks ago with the White Sox. He wears number 47 in honor of his good buddy John Mabry. Joe was telling me that when he first came up, it was Mabry that was there to show him the ropes, so to speak, of being in the major leagues and being a utility guy. Remember, it was Super Joe. He played all over the field just like John Mabry. So he had number 48 for a while. Then he went to 47 once he left St. Louis.
Really can't think of anybody better than John Mabry, and use the old Tony La Russa line as maybe there's a bunch of other guys tied for first. But in terms of being able to be good for young players and show them how to be a professional, show them how to act properly on the road, in the clubhouse, with teammates, different situations, handle losing, handle the press for that matter. He's very savvy about all of those things.
Still in playing shape too. Probably go out and hit 250.
He hit a little higher than that at the Legends camp.
Yo, I bet he did. Kyle hits it hard, but right to second. Maybe 275. Better say 300. He's going to hear about it. 2-2 game. Rockies and Cardinals here in St. Louis at Busch Stadium. We jump ahead to the 5th inning and we flash back. Cards and Rockies and Kyle Loesch on the mound. This was August 12th of last season.
Yeah, he's beaten the Rockies 3 times in a row here in St. Louis, and in this particular start he was able to give up just 1 run. That was a home run to Cargo, but he also helped his own cause that day with a base hit the other way. Kyle McClellan was able to finish out the game for him, a 6-1 Cardinal victory, and this was a couple of weeks before the Cardinals kind of went on a bit of a streak, in case you have forgotten that, Dan.
Right around that time things started to change with the club, and it makes you wonder, here we are in 2012, what does John Mozeliak have up his sleeve?
He's not taking any days off, I can promise you that.
You'd have to say too, Rick, that the Cardinals can deal from a strength of their minor league system. They have got some prospects that if they feel they want to part with them, or it's that kind of deal that gets them over the top, they are going to have the kind of players that many organizations are taking a hard look at right now.
I've always thought the most important part of the job for John Mozeliak and any general manager right now is to understand the difference between what you need now and what you'll need in September, and they may be different needs. And if you jump at the wrong need now, you may be in trouble.
Tough play here. Barehanded and safe at first. How about that play? Just to even make it close by Descalso.
There's the bare hand and the throw all in one motion. He's been so smooth at second base. Really any place you put him.
So Rosario with the second infield hit for the Rockies tonight.
And another start today for Descalso against a left-handed starter because of his defense.
So here is Tyler Chatwood. Pitcher trying to get down the bunt. It's a fair ball out at second, on to first, safe. Molina wants to have a conversation with our home plate umpire. I'm not sure if it's about a tag or interference.
Maybe saying that
initially I thought Molina had tagged him.
The two questions could be, did he tag him or did the batter get in his way? One of the two. And he's still fumbling with the ball. It can't be the tag. I just wonder whether he thinks the ball may have hit him in fair territory. Could be another possibility.
Sure. Brings in EY Jr. Eric Young, second baseman by trade, and now trying to learn the outfield, and he can run. Race to the bag, out. Nice play by Descalso and Craig.
Not sure who's
on the play.
Not sure whose play was tougher. Descalso had a long way to go to get to the bag, and he had to make that decision in a hurry. He had to read what happened off the bat. There he goes on the bat. You see Descalso breaking quickly. Alan Craig did everything quickly, turned and made a good throw. Young can fly. Everything had to work just right and just barely out, according to Tim Welke.
Marco Scutaro. Descalso knocks it down, stays with it, and that'll save a run. Base hit for Scutaro, his first hit of the night. And now it's a very dangerous at bat in this game coming up with Carlos Gonzalez.
Almost looked as if that ball bounced back towards Descalso as he was diving. And he knew, I've got to keep this ball in the infield, but it comes back towards his head and actually has the glove almost shielding his face. But he does what he's supposed to do, and that's keeps the ball in the infield. No matter what, you cannot let that ball get to the outfield or you're trailing 3-2.
Runners at first and third. Carlos Gonzalez singled back in the first and also struck out looking.
You mentioned young Cardinal talent. Oscar Taveras was announced as the minor league player of the month. Not sure they want to give him up.
I'm not sure they want to give anything to Gonzalez. Looks like they're just going to pitch around him and take their chances with the bases loaded and Kadire. Yeah, Taveras, Rick, just turned 20. He was the MVP at the AA All-Star game, and he'll be part of the Futures game coming up in Kansas City.
Molina setting up about a foot outside.
Set up the possibility of a very big inning and trouble for the Rockies.
That's the downside. Add to the downside that Kadire has 2 grand slams on the season, leading the National League in that department. That's the bad side. The good side is you don't have to pitch to maybe one of the top 3 hitters in the National League in Carlos Gonzalez. Second in RBIs, he has 17 home runs. Very dangerous hitter.
Give me somebody better.
I'm thinking.
I mean, he's that good.
Yeah.
So bases loaded here for Kadire. Outfield is straight away. Good pitch by Loesch. Strike one. Kadire has lined out to second. Singled and scored on the 2-run homer by Colvin, who's on deck. Hits his spot. That's strike 2.
Molina sets up outside. Must be nice when you put the glove there and that's where the ball ends up.
And the ball scoots away from Yachty, but the runners don't advance.
That's having a pitcher at third base. Not sure. Haven't been here before. Probably since high school.
And he's saying, I'm not running us out of an inning. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Big crowd here at Busch Stadium comes alive. Looked to be the changeup on 1 and 2.
Might have hung that one a bit too. Kadire had a good swing at it. Off balance just a bit. Still early, but this is a big pitch for Kyle Loesch.
Two and 2. Two pitch. Runners off with the next pitch. 3 and 2 with the bases loaded. A 2-2 game here in the top of the 5th. Popped him up. Center field. Jay is there. He's got it. Rocky strand, the bases loaded. Ice Mountain Kids T-shirt Day. It'll feature Fredbird on the front. That'll be this Sunday against the Marlins. By the way, there are $11 tickets for that game. Family Sunday, you get the free soda and hot dog. Ice cream is free before the game. Run the bases afterwards. It's all at Cardinals.com this Sunday.
Biggest pitch of the game so far. Kyle Loesch, bases loaded, 3-2. Kadire pops up. Look at Daniel Descalzo, the second baseman. He goes back. He points out the ball. I'm not sure John Jay has a good bead on the ball yet. He keeps pointing at it. John Jay now has it. It's a tough sky right now. Not exactly dark. Somewhere in between, a bit twilight right now, and Daniel Descalzo doing a little thing that matters.
John Jay, Holiday, Beltran, home half of the 5th in a 2-2 game. Jay walked and scored, stole a base back in the 1st, and struck out in the 3rd. Two and 0. And we talk about the big guys that are out of this lineup and missing from the pitching staff for St. Louis. Overlooked a bit. Loss of John Jay and how important he is to this team.
Both offensively and defensively. He solidifies the outfield defense. He has very good range in the gap from left center to right center. But he's been a table setter offensively. Not necessarily getting the run scored in the RBI, but getting that hit in between that matters.
3-1 pitch on its way. Make it a full count.
Cardinals have also announced they've signed 3 Latin American players. Luis Bandes, Joshua Lopez, and Edmundo Sosa, an infielder. And they're excited about those signings. I believe that Bandes, who's an outfielder from Venezuela, has power potential, could be a middle of the bat lineup guy eventually. There's the pitch, very close, and maybe a little bit more than close.
Cardinals have received 6 walks tonight. Holiday homered his last time up. John Mozeliak there on the right. John Vooch in the middle. And John runs the Cardinals farm system. Mr. Gersh there on the left. He is the assistant GM. Holiday at the great camp. First month very slow, and since then he's climbed out of that rut, and he's done so in a big way the last 3 to 4 weeks.
Talked about the hitting approach of Cargo. Holiday the same deal. That front leg's going to go up, going to time it. But when he gets an off-speed pitch, to me, it's just fun to watch how he keeps his hands back. Now, you can do all you want with your legs as long as your hands are back, because that's where the swing comes from. You may lose a little power that way, although with Matt, he doesn't seem to.
About the ball yesterday and how far he went down to get it. Incredible strength. They want to go inside. A lot of teams want to do this with Holiday. Lines it into right, and it gets down. Jay on his way to third. Base hit for a Holiday. Runners at first and third, and nobody out. It could have been a lot worse, as it only got away about 10 or 15 feet away from Colvin. This almost went to the wall.
Another hard hit ball the other way for Matt Holiday. Inside out swing. Jay has to be careful. He might catch that ball, not sure, but he's still able to get from first to third. Colvin did take a chance. If I'm his pitcher, I'm glad he did. But as you say, it could have been worse.
Now you get Beltran. RBI back in the first, his 62nd of the year to lead the National League. Walked and was caught stealing. Off speed pitch and out in front. No balls and a strike. Most consecutive games for the Cardinals. This is since 1919. Driving in a run. Beltran at 9. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Outfield is deep, as you would expect.
One ball and 2 strikes. Runners at first and third. A chance to do some damage in this 2-2 game. Beltran, ground ball right side. Out at second, and safe at first as the run scores to make it 3-2. There are times where you wonder about at second base. You think about those calls at second. And how far off the bag is the shortstop, second baseman, or even Holiday going after Scutaro, trying to break up the double play.
Well, if I'm Scutaro, I've just been hit by Steven Strasburg in the helmet, and then I've got Matt Holiday bearing down on me about a week later. I'm going to get out of there as fast as possible.
Absolutely. Beltran the RBI. And that's now 63. Alan Craig has walked tonight and also popped out. You know, Scutaro was pleading his case to the second base umpire about Holiday.
Right.
I mean, was he even in the vicinity to touch the bag as he went after him?
And that's the rule. You have to be able to reach the bag. And I mentioned Scutaro getting hit by Strasburg. He only missed 1 game after getting hit straight on the helmet by a 100-mile-an-hour fastball from Strasburg. And pretty impressive that he missed just that 1 game. Came back, played the next night. Reminded me of Clint Hurdle, who was just here in town. I remember vividly the day, and I was not right in the dugout when he got hit by Dwight Gooden. Same place, right in the front of the helmet. The helmet shattered. Clint wasn't sure who he was back in the training room when we took him back there, and the helmet was back. In fact, it was the old kind of helmet. It was just the one flap, I think, and it literally broke the helmet, split it, and he had blood on his head, but was able to again play a couple of days later. Just amazing to me.
I remember seeing that on television too. Be a lot of trips like this. Maybe that's why they have 2 pitching coaches.
You want him?
You're going to get him this inning? All right.
And I can tell you, I recall that conversation with the manager I worked with in the minor leagues as a pitching coach. There'd be times he'd look at me and he goes, "You want him or you want me to talk to him?" There are times where you just, you don't really have the right thing to say. You know whatever you say is not going to help, but you also know you got to go out there and try. That's just funny thinking about that. All right, I'll get him.
What are you going to say this time?
Then you come back and the manager looks at you. What did he say?
You're right.
Get me out of there.
3-1 here on Alan Craig. And I would assume, Rick, I mean, you were a coach. You got to change up the message a little bit.
Yeah. There are times where and if you say the same thing every time, then it just loses its pop. And times you got to jump them, and there are times you got to just say, "Hey, it's okay. Still love you."
3-1 pitch. Craig hits it out to deep center, to the track, to the wall. It's gone. 2-run homer. Alan Craig to dead center.
Home run number 12, and this one was a bomb. Down and away. The look on his face, full swing. Straightaway center field and halfway up the little mound out there as well. That had to be about 440, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you don't see many, even at BP, about halfway up there like that. So Alan Craig now over 40 RBIs. He has 41, and he has 12 home runs. And Rick, you're just not very good on your measurements. That was 438. Yachty bounces one to short. Scutaro to his left. Low throw. Nice pick.
Missed it by that much.
Yes, you did. 2 feet. What's on tap? It's the Rockies and Cardinals in game number 2. Jeff Francis 1-1. Joe Kelly 1-0, coming off a good start against the Marlins. And we'll come your way with the pregame show at 6:30. Budweiser, what's on tap? How about this lineup, Rick? You look up and down. You've got Holiday, 13 home runs. Beltran with 20. Craig now 12. Molina 13. Freese 13. Got some pop.
You have David Freese, a potential all-star, batting 7th with 48 RBIs. Offense not a problem with St. Louis. It's not a problem with Colorado. I would suspect we're going to see some runs in this series. Cardinals have Joe Kelly in game 2. Adam Wainwright will pitch on Wednesday. Then Lance Lynn trying to get things back on track. Congratulations to him for making the all-star team. He'll pitch on Thursday. And of course we get the whole rotation since it's a 4-man rotation for Colorado. Francis tomorrow, you mentioned him. Friedrich on Wednesday, and then Pomeranz, who they're very high on, will pitch the final game.
That's up the middle for a base hit. Actually got the chance to do a couple of the college games that Pomeranz pitched in. And at that time, Rick, he looked like a big leaguer. And that wasn't that long ago.
Well, in his last outing, they said he did look like a big leaguer. So seems to have it figured out.
Pitches by inning up to 117.
Well, they throw 150 as a team and then they go home.
That's it.
That's
new rule.
I'm done. We're done. Two guys are done.
We can all wish.
Well, it has a little bit of a feel to what you see in spring training when you have a couple of starters. We'll kind of piggyback this way. The Cardinals have actually tried this at the lower minor league level as a way of developing players, and that's one thing. But here they're trying to teach them to get outs with few pitches, and we'll see if it works.
And Nolan Ryan for the Rangers is on the other side, where he's trying to extend outings throughout their minor leagues so that when they get to the major league level, guys are ready to go 7, 8, 9 innings. That throwing a complete game isn't a big deal.
I would give Dan O'Dowd, who's a good baseball man, and Jim Tracy the benefit of the doubt that if they had 5 guys that they felt could go 90 pitches, they would let them do it.
I agree. I think maybe that's what you're dealing with here. And also,
I don't think they can announce that. I don't think you put that on your promo package, but I think that's the fact.
And you've got to find out about some of these guys too. You know, Pomeranz is a guy that you can count on. They think a couple other guys have been hurt this year that are coming back. Couple of home runs hit by the Cardinals tonight. Early on, Matt Holliday against his former team. That was number 13. This one to dead center. 438 feet off the bat of Alan Craig. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. By Ford, the official vehicles of the Cardinals. And by the state of Missouri Tobacco Quit Line. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. Old Courthouse, downtown St. Louis, Market Street, and a 5-2 lead for St. Louis. Alan Craig with a home run. Matt Holliday a home run. Beltran a pair of RBIs and a 5-2 St. Louis lead. Here's Tyler Colvin. He is homered tonight. A fly ball into shallow right center. John Jay is there for the first out. Colvin is 1 for 3, and it brings in Pacheco.
.47 strikes to 70 pitches working into the 6th inning is a good pitch count. And again, if you're Colorado Rockies pitchers, those lefties sitting in their dugout, you look out there and say, you know what, maybe you can pitch 5+ innings with 75 pitches, enough to get a win. So you have to follow what Loesch does. A lot of first pitch strikes. Alan Craig now with 12 home runs, has 1 more than he hit last year.
This is popped up to the right side, and Craig will give it a look, and it's out of play. Rick, you mentioned how, as far as a GM is concerned, you think about not only with the team the way it's currently constructed, but also September, hopefully October. Dan, Rick, and Jim with you here on Fox Sports Midwest. But also you think about next year and the year after that, and a good problem to have is starting pitching and guys that have been consistent. And when Loesch in his Cardinal tenure has been healthy, this guy's been very good.
Look at that
something
control.
to think about.
Yeah, I mean, look at the control there. Loesch just pinpoint control, and that's kind of his mode. And he's going to throw 9 out of 10 pitches within a couple of inches of where he's aiming. And that's pretty impressive from 60 feet away, and not many pitchers can do that. Again, Molina not having to move the glove again. Good movement to go along with it. And there was a time I think when Loesch signed the long-term deal, the second deal that he had here, there was a sense of, boy, that's a lot of money to give somebody. We're not sure he's worth it, but he's been worth every penny of it.
He signed through this year. Guy that's pitched for Minnesota, began his career with the Chicago Cubs, been with Cincinnati and the Phillies. He's found a home here in St. Louis. 1-1 pitch. Ground ball slowly hit to the right side. Easy play for Descalso. 8 pitches in the inning for Kyle Loesch. He'll lead it off when we come back. All-star Lance Lynn will be signing autographs in the Ford Plaza. We call it Bush Bash, and it's 2 hours prior to every Friday home game. Cardinals.com/promotions, and it's the Bush Bash this Friday. Joe McGrain was last Friday, right?
He was.
Say hi to your former teammate.
I didn't get to see him. I wanted to get in the line to get his autograph, but
you told me you would be in the middle of that.
I wanted to. I just didn't get a chance. I'm sure Joe will oblige somewhere down the road. I'd be better off getting his daughter's autograph because she's the talented one in the family. She's a singer, was on American Idol. Joe's just Joe.
So basically, the only thing that you want to do is whoever the most popular person at that time is, you're going to latch onto that aspect of the family.
Kind of what I said, isn't it?
Wow, that's tough.
When I think of Joe, I can't help but think of the time when he told the story to a reporter that he really wasn't named Joe McGrain. That wasn't his real name, and he wasn't really from Kentucky. He was moved there, and his name was changed as part of a witness relocation program that his father was involved with, that because he testified at a murder trial, and he was making it all up.
Hold on,
and it was in the paper the next day.
Am I dealing with Al here, or is this you, Rick?
I'm just telling you the story.
Okay.
So the point is, Dan, I'm Rick, is don't believe everything that players say.
I've listened and for many years have been
that's not hard for you to go
on
there.
every word. All-Star Fan Fest. Head down 70 and go to the west side of the state, and you'll be there. Major League Baseball All-Star Fan Fest, and we saw that in 2009 here at Busch Stadium. And around the ballpark, all the activities that Major League Baseball puts on. What a great event. The All-Star Game in Kansas City. Allstar.com, allstargame.com is where you get your tickets.
Mentioned that I was not a big fan of the Home Run Derby, but I was a fan fest. A lot of activity around the ballpark. It becomes a happening place to be. The Home Run Derby problem, Dan, is just the essence of the game of baseball. To me, is not let's see how far you can hit it. And I understand fans love it, and that's good, but I want to see a slider down and away contest.
Yeah, I was going to say you love the let's turn 2 behind me contest.
Why not? Why not? I get it.
I was watching the lacrosse all-star festivities the other day. Now you talk about an all-star bash. My goodness. 3-1 pitch, and that's a walk 2 for Cowell.
Take your word for it.
When the truck puts this up, it means it's time for us to change the subject. So it's time for our trivia question. When was the last time the Cardinals had 3 players with 10 or more home runs, 300 or better average before the All-Star break?
And the answer, 2003. Pujols, Edmonds, and Drew. Cardinals have 4 currently batting over 300 with 10 or more home runs. Holiday, Beltran, Craig, and Molina.
You were fairly close with J.D. Drew. Do you have any idea what he's up to?
No, he retired. I know he couldn't wait to get back home to Georgia and fish and hunt and just enjoy his family. I would imagine that's what he's doing. Did see Steven, his brother, out in Arizona. said that he was officially retired. His brother was.
And Steven is back on the field, back on the diamond. That's good to see, as Furcal is off and running. And he was in the middle of a controversy, not by his own doing, just he was missing time. He was hurt, and some believe that he should have been on the field when he wasn't. And he is a free agent to be.
He had a horrific injury.
Terrible.
With his ankle. There was doubt at some point whether or not he'd be able to come back and play. Nice to have John Jay back from his injury. Not nearly as severe, but one of those things that was nagging and hurt him with his swing. And his timing is back now. 5 guys in the lineup for the Cardinals batting over 300. And there's a former Cardinal.
Adam Ottavino, guy that many thought would be pitching in the big leagues wearing a Cardinal uniform, has dealt with some injuries along the way and now pitching for the Rockies. Two-one pitch. Driven out to left center field. This is well hit. And it gets down. Ground rule double. The Rockies actually catch a break here. That ball getting over the wall. The effort there by Eric Young diving for it. And it's a double. Ground rule double for John Jay.
Well hit the other way by John Jay. Ball carried as well. There's the swing. Head on it. Driving it the other way. Another look at the effort of Eric Young. Rockies not exactly playing well, but they're still playing hard.
And here comes the double switch, it looks like, for Jim Tracy. Ottavino will come in from the bullpen, and they'll make a change along their infield. Runners at second and third. And the Cardinals trying to add to their 5-2 lead. It's our Chevy call to the pen. Ottavino coming in. He gets Matt Holliday when we come back. Next Tuesday, you don't want to miss it, and it's the All-Star Game. Tony La Russa managing the National Leaguers. A little bit of controversy concerning Tony and Dusty Baker and Johnny Cueto and Brandon Phillips being left off the roster.
Yeah, there's some question about whether or not Cueto was really scheduled to pitch on Sunday or not. Tony La Russa's thought was, well, if you want him in the All-Star Game, you don't start him on Sunday because I can't pick him then. Those two guys are going. We know that for sure. Both well-deserved vote. Furcal will be the shortstop. Carlos Beltran having a big year.
7:30 Eastern, only on Fox, and that'll be Tuesday. Scudero shifting over to second base. Infield is drawn in. Herrera is at shortstop. Ottavino is your new pitcher. One-0 pitch to Holliday. Up and in. Rockies made overtures to Holliday to try to lock him up long term. Things did not work out. They decided to part ways. He went to Oakland. Then he winds up in St. Louis. Deal near the trade deadline of 2009. 2-1. Rick, you were talking the other day about guys that they come to a city and sometimes are just not part of the community. You cannot say that about Matt Holliday. He and his family have moved here full time. He's involved in a number of charities. He is a part of the St. Louis community. 2-1 pitch. Fly ball out to deep right. Catch is made. Runners will tag up. Throw to the plate is not in time. The speed of Furcal beats the throw. It's an RBI for Holliday. 6-2 St. Louis. Pretty good throw from right field.
Sure was. Very good arms in the outfield here, especially the left fielder Gonzalez. That's one of the best arms in all of baseball. But a nice throw from Colvin as well. Furcal slides in safely. Got a good jump. Goes to the outside part of the bag. Nicely done.
Now Beltran, who has a pair of RBIs tonight. 2 outs, big gap into left center field. Runner at third. So Beltran, the man on deck, many times can act as a base coach, if you will, can guide that runner where to slide coming into the home plate area. Two outs and a runner at third. 3 balls and no strikes on Carlos. It has been walk after walk tonight by this pitching staff of the Rockies.
70 pitches for Outman, 63 for Chatwood. Both of them throwing less than 50% strikes.
That's 8 walks the Cardinals have been issued. 8. Runners at first and third for Alan Craig. And a long home run for his 12th back in the 5th inning. 6-2 St. Louis. Strike one. Remember, Ottavino dealt with shoulder injuries. As you get a look at the numbers for Craig this season and last year. One point they thought they'd have to shut him down for surgery. And he was always a guy that threw fairly hard, mid to high 90s at times.
That pitch at 95 still does. Somebody will always take a chance at somebody throwing 95. If they figure it out, you may have something.
In the dirt, advancing on the play, Beltran. There are a couple players here that the Cardinals have in uniform, one being Berkman, the other being Beltran, where you're getting into that area that if they can have longevity in the game, their numbers are pretty exclusive. And you say, just how good have they been? Are they in that caliber of, in the conversation of being a Hall of Famer?
I think they're maybe not in for sure, but they're sure knocking at the door. They're right outside the door. They're close to it. The point is, can they knock long enough? And and if you can go 3 or 4 more years, I mean, the production numbers that both of them have had in the last couple years, Beltran's year especially, and if you can keep producing like that. Warren Spahn's a pitching example of people talking about, he won most of his games after age 27, so he just kept getting better and better, and then he pitched a long time and had those big numbers, and if Beltran and Berkman could put together 3 or 4 more years, I don't know if that's possible to say that. There's another good ratio at work.
3-2, 2 outs. Runners at second and third. Craig a chance to add to this lead. Strikeout for Ottavino. Redbirds add to their lead. 6-2 St. Louis.
6-2 Cardinals. A lot of walks here tonight for Colorado Rockies pitchers. Adam Ottavino gets away with a pitch up in the zone, but as he's walking off the mound, it looks as if he may have some issue with his finger. Perhaps a blister, perhaps he cut it with one of his fingernails, but not sure whether or not we're going to see him back out. He looked to be a little agitated as he was walking back to the Colorado Rocky bench, and if he can't continue, that'll be 4 Rocky pitchers, and guess what? Our guy's still out there, Kyle Loesch.
Seeing him look at his hand like that, as you get a look at the pitches, 76 for Loesch. We were talking about R.A. Dickey and dealing with a catcher that's not used to catching a knuckleball in the All-Star game, and he said actually he's really looking forward to trying to teach a catcher about a different aspect of the game. He's a very cerebral guy, and thinks outside the box, so to speak. And he said, I'm going to bring a couple of different gloves and work a little bit the off day, workout day on the side with the catcher, and throw some knuckleballs. And the one thing that we've noticed is just how hard he throws it. There are guys like Charlie Huff, and it was up there for 10 days, it seemed like, and dancing all over the place. But R.A. Dickey has mastered control with it, and he throws it fairly hard.
Nothing like teaching somebody something on the world stage of an All-Star game.
Good luck.
I thought all players were cerebral and thought outside the box. Dan?
So here is Jonathan Herrera. Being sarcastic, Rick.
Oh, really?
Off the glove of the first baseman Craig, and a base hit for Herrera, his first plate appearance of the night.
Well, we saw the low pitch count of Kyle Loesch. 138 pitches thrown, actually more than that. 144 pitches thrown by the Rockies, and he's thrown 80. Very different ratio of balls to strikes.
Tom Mee is our director tonight. Brian McCann, our producer. Pinpoint control. That catches the outside corner for a strike on Eric Young. He was 1 for 3 tonight.
One of the human elements of this game is you have a umpire who gets used to raising that right arm because the pitcher keeps hitting his spot, and it becomes almost an expectation when you work a game with somebody like Kyle Loesch that he's going to be doing what he wants to do. And just as I say that, he does not get that pitch. High and away.
Throw to first. Oh, they almost got him.
Actually, a slow reaction by the runner Herrera at first. They always say freeze on the line drive. That's the wrong thing to say. Don't freeze, go back. That ball hit the freeze. Quick throw. And a late dive back into the bag. There's Freeze, catches it. And finally, Herrera dives back in just in time. Wonder who thought of that freeze on a line drive. I mean, you heard that?
Oh, sure.
But shouldn't you go back? I understand what they're trying to say. Don't go forward.
I also thought he was out at first.
May have been.
Marco Scutaro. Hits it out of play. Time to stretch after the strikeout of Scutaro. 6-2 St. Louis. Stars align for the 2012 Major League All-Star Game, the best of the American League against the best of the National League. July 10th, 7:30 Eastern. And it's only on Fox. Dan McLaughlin and Rick Horton with you. Jim Hayes as well as we play here in the bottom of the 7th. And it's 6-2. Cardinals on top. Here's a 1-0 pitch. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Molina tonight twice has grounded out, and he also struck out. All right, Mr. Horton, who has the edge here? You got a couple of guys that know each other pretty well in Molina and Ottavino. I'm sure Yachty has caught him a number of times, especially in spring training.
I think the edge goes to the guy that's a 300 hitter and an all-star.
That's a pretty easy answer then.
No matter whether they've never met, know each other, roomed together, were brothers, I think I would go with the guy with the ability.
Here's a 1-2, and it's hit out of play.
They both have ability, but the guy with the most ability.
The elite.
The elite, and that's what Yachty is. Yachty really becoming, in many ways, the face of this team.
Held up his swing, 2-2.
Ottavino appears to be okay in terms of whatever he had working on his finger, the blister that he was dealing with as he was walking off the mound.
Here's a 2-2. Molina rips it down the left field line, and it is foul. Whitey Herzog last year, we were doing a radio show together, and he said in his mind, Tony La Russa, future Hall of Famer, Yadier Molina, Hall of Famer, Matt Holliday, Hall of Famer, Pujols, Hall of Famer. I mean, he went down the line of just how many good players the Cardinals had. And sure enough, they go out and win the World Series. And he believes that you're looking at, if he stays healthy, there's a lot of ifs in that, but a future Hall of Famer.
And this isn't the guy down the street saying that.
No.
Unless you happen to live down the street from.
He happens to be in
Whitey
Cooperstown.
Herzog. Yes, exactly. You're talking about a Hall of Famer, and he's going to tell you what he thinks, as we know.
Yes.
Not going to sugarcoat things, and he's not going to say something just to say it.
3-2 pitch. How about defensively, Rick? I mean, you've played this game a long time and been around it a long time. Does anybody match up or close to what you've seen from Molina?
I don't think I can think of somebody that was as good at blocking balls as well as throwing. I mean, they're two really different things.
I'd say Mike was the best I ever saw
at blocking. I would agree.
Matheny. But throwing, Molina's in a class by himself. Backing up. Long throw. And Yachty beats it out. Skipping to the base hit. How about that?
Could almost see that coming. You could see Pacheco saying, well, that's Molina. I can back up and take my time. And he took just a little bit too much time. Yachty all smiles. Taken off out of the box. Bang, bang play. And there's the skip.
Boy, you appreciate that, don't you? Hustling all the way. And now David Freese. Kind of play where Molina, knowing that maybe the situation would present itself with the third baseman backing up just a bit, because there was no hesitation coming out of the box. He was hustling for the base hit.
It's almost as if he read that. Yeah. The first move from Pacheco was back, and he knew he hit the ball down the line, which gives you some thought that maybe I can beat this out. But that step back by Pacheco is really what Yachty must have read right out of the box.
Nice piece of hitting to right field by David Freese. And Freese has himself a 3-hit night.
And that should earn him a few more All-Star votes.
Descalso has lined out, grounded out, and struck out.
Freeze up to 286.
Throw down to third, and did they get him? No. Safe. Yachty. And both runners advance.
A lot of balls have gotten away from the catcher, Rosario. He has a number of pass balls, but we've seen some wild pitches that he hasn't been able to handle. He's a work in progress defensively, although his arm is very, very good. But you can't really blame the guy behind the plate when he's getting so many pitches that aren't even close to the intended target. There's the snap throw.
A strike on Descalso.
And another pitch in the dirt. Rockies with a 5.37 team ERA.
Infield is drawn in. 2 strikes on Daniel. 1-2 the count with runners at second and third. A bit surprising this year has been the Cardinals' record at home, and probably a bit disappointing as well for Mike Matheny. 18-18. 500 record here at home. Hoping to get above 500 with a win here tonight. They're well on their way, up 6-2.
Rockies are only 12-23 on the road. And one of the biggest problems that they've had this season is interleague play. Unfortunately for them, that's behind them. But they had to play the Texas Rangers and Detroit, and to go out to Seattle and play Oakland as well. 2-13 in interleague play.
2-2. Descalso pops it up. Long way to go for EY and Cargo. It's EY making a diving catch. Runners back to second and third. for Colorado, you're thinking you might get out of this inning. You've got Loesch now. Get that second out. And if you're the Rockies, you're thinking of all kinds of scenarios.
Well, we have to keep in mind this game's within reach from the Rockies' point of view for sure. A 4-run deficit for them, but their offense right up there with the Cardinals in terms of scoring runs. They have more home runs than the Redbirds do. Average just behind St. Louis, but they have plenty of pop in this lineup tonight, as well as some guys on the bench that can do some damage. Helton, Giambi, Dexter Fowler. So to get as many runs as you possibly can. So an important at bat here for Kyle Loesch. Squeeze a possibility.
Loesch has put together some very good at bats tonight.
Chris Maloney flashing the signs, filling in for Jose Oquendo.
One 0 pitch, breaks his bat. One hopper to second. Oh, and they botched that. My goodness. And Loesch on his way to second base. Run scores to make it 7-2.
That bat flew into the stands, and hoping everybody's okay just over the Rockies dugout. There goes the bat. There goes the ball. Here comes the throw. And that's Yadier Molina crossing home plate. Been a long season so far for Jim Tracy.
Now for Kyle with one out. Runners at second and third. A 7-2 St. Louis lead. Remember Tyler Colvin? There was a broken bat that punctured his lung in 2010 when he was with the Cubs, and he missed the rest of the season. Broken bat just like the one that we saw, and that was as scary a situation in baseball that you would ever see with a broken bat. Colvin is first baseman / outfielder, and at that time he was at first base. The 2-0 pitch.
And we mentioned that, Dan, from time to time in our broadcast, not to be alarmist for fans, but as they come out to the game, we just encourage everybody, have your head on a swivel, always be watching the ball and be alert, especially if you have seats down close. Those are great views, but you're also close to the action. You need to be careful.
Juan Encarnacion always comes to mind when you think about the foul balls. See what the Rockies have done this year. National League rankings. Third most in errors. ERA 16th. Pitching and defense. 2-2. Puts it in play. Hits it towards third. A run will score. For Kyle. Drives in David Freese, and it's 8-2. And Rafael Furcal picks up RBI number 32. You're playing in, and clearly they would have had Freese at the plate, I thought.
I did too, and I could almost read the mind of Pacheco, the third baseman. We can't do this again. We can't throw it. I mean, almost that's the negative kind of thought process that goes through your head. Here, he has the ball now. Plenty of time to throw that ball home. But you're thinking, well, we just threw one away a second ago. Boy, I better just get an out. And that's the spiral that can happen with a team defensively and from a pitching standpoint. And that wasn't Ottavino's fault. Defense let him down.
Pitching change. The Cardinals about hit the Rockies 9-7. They lead in the game 8-2. Lefty is in. That's Matt Reynolds. Dexter Fowler takes over in center field. 2 outs, and John Jay will be the hitter.
An important add-on for the Cardinals here, Dan, in the 7th inning, picking up those 2 runs, and really the defense and the lapse defensively for Colorado has led to those 2 runs. 6-run lead, a huge difference than the 4-run lead that Cardinals started with this inning. And a chance for some more with John Jay.
Jay hits it down the left field line. Cargo is over, runs out of room. It was about this time last year, banged into a wall and hurt his wrist, and they could ill afford to lose him. And he is that one guy in the lineup that can tear it up.
This is where it makes sense for a player of his caliber to not go diving into the stands to try to get on the highlight film. In an 8-2 game, he means so much to this team. They could ill afford to lose him. And again, you appreciate the guys giving an effort, but once you get close to that wall, there's no sense getting hurt. How about this line drive? Well, this is what we're talking about. Watch out. Kyle Lotion, watch out the first row.
1-2 the count on John Jay. 8-2 St. Louis. And Gonzalez has even talked about that, Rick, where that exact scenario he's been faced with, where he is not going to go hard into walls and risk injury. And the Rockies have all but said thank you. You know, they don't want to see him do that too. This is low and away, 2-2. Looking for his first RBI against a lefty. That's taken in the dirt, and the count runs full. Ground ball to the right side. Scutaro knocks it down and with time makes the play. Cardinals add to their lead with 2 runs here in the bottom of the 7th. Cardinals on top. It's 8-2. Welcome back to Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Let's go to our studio and our Bommarito Sports Update with Pat Paris. Pat.
Dan, thanks very much. Non-All-Star Zach Greinke on the hill for the Brewers tonight. Milwaukee hosting Miami. Greinke struggling. 3rd inning, Justin Ruggiano belts his 3rd home run of the season. 2-run shot. Greinke 5 runs over 6 innings, but the Brewers have come back to bail Greinke out. They lead 6-5, bottom 8. Dan, Rick, back to you.
Zach Greinke not part of the All-Star game in the National League, and that was one of those omissions that fans in Milwaukee, rightfully so, were upset about. When your guy doesn't make it, you get upset. And that's the case with Greinke, which would have made for a pretty neat story to see him go back to Kansas City. But not meant to be.
That's what's so hard about it is there's always going to be a story of 2 or 3 or 4 guys that are deserving. No matter how you arrive at your choices, some team's going to feel slighted.
And the Cardinals will be so well represented with Furcal in his 3rd All-Star game. This is Carlos Gonzalez. He'll be there for the Rockies. Beltran is 7th. Molina his 4th appearance. Lance Lynn is 1st. Then you have the current coaches of Oquendo, Lilliquist, McGuire. Tony La Russa will be there. 1-2 pitch. Base hit into right. Well, Matt Kemp has made his selections for the home run derby. And Kemp stayed out west. And in the Central with Carlos Beltran, the switch hitter. One of 2 National League players with 20 or more. Just saw Carlos Gonzalez, the National League West. 17 this year. Mammoth home runs hit by that man, Stanton. There's a base hit off the bat of Michael Kadire. So Michael Kadire with the base hit up the middle. First 2 have reached here in the 8th. That'll get activity in the Cardinals bullpen.
Pitch count not an issue yet for Kyle Loesch. He's at 92.
Colvin with a 2-run shot to account for the runs for the Rockies, and that was back in the 4th.
5 straight games of 7 or more innings for Kyle Loesch.
Month of June, he pitched at least 7 innings. In 4 of his 5 starts, never allowed more than 3 earned runs. ERA for the month was under 2. Two balls and 1 strike.
Always been a good pitcher in April. Has a career record in the month of April that really leads to all-star appearances every year, and then he kind of has a struggling period. Now he's got it back, and you just hope he can keep this up for another couple of months.
2-1 pitch.
Every pitcher goes through a stage during a season where they're just not right. They're not sharp. We think Lance Lynn's probably going through that right now. You hope he just bounces out of it quickly. Tomorrow will be the official halfway point for St. Louis. Game number 81.
John Mozeliak was saying the other day that you pretty much know at this point in the season what your club looks like, who you are, for the most part. I'm not sure you could say that, though, for the Cardinals, because you're missing Berkman. You haven't had your full complement of your everyday lineup. Still some question marks, though, undoubtedly, with their bullpen. And the issue of Carpenter. Chris Carpenter, whether or not he comes back.
And I think that's what's so odd as far as the Cardinals in 2012 is concerned for John Mozeliak, is the injury situation is so uncertain. You think Lance Berkman's okay, and then, well, let's see him start playing first. And I'm glad his knee feels good, but once, I mean, you have to test it.
Yeah.
Chris Carpenter, we've been up and down emotionally with him. He's ready, now he's not, and he doesn't know, and he's trying to get all his answers physically, and you don't know what you don't know.
3-2 pitch, and this could be 2. Out at second, and safe at first.
A lot of injuries, you know, hey, you know what? It's going to be 6 weeks, or it's going to be 8 weeks, or it's going to be all year. Jaime Garcia, To me, he's a big question mark. Descalso gets rid of it quickly, but no chance to get Colvin, who runs well. Garcia may be as big a question as anybody, as far as I'm concerned, about his health. He may be fine, maybe he's not.
Jordan Pacheco with one out, runners at first and third. 100 tonight. Averaging 92 a start for Kyle Lohse. Foul ball.
If you knew you could get the best of Jaime Garcia in mid-August or late August, and you knew you could get the best of Kyle McClellan and you could get the best of Chris Carpenter, what would that do to John Mozeliak when you start thinking about making changes or constructing some things in the second half? It totally alters it, but all those things you just don't know.
You'd look like a different team in many ways, and then what you do is completely different. As you mentioned, nice play made by a fan, brought his glove. Very nicely done.
High fives all the way around.
They've saved somebody down there. Ball was hit hard. 2-1 pitch on its way from Lohse. You also think along right now with Mike Matheny, if he was able to get a double play here, let's say, you would think about letting Lohse maybe go the distance in this game. He's right on the cusp of, do you stick with him in the ninth or take him out? 2-2.
Mike has shown a desire to have starting pitchers have good days, and if you can get them out when the getting's good, do it. My guess would be that if Lohse is able to escape here, or even if he's not, I think this is his last inning.
The 3-2 pitch on its way. Walked him. Bases loaded, and this may be it right here. We'll listen to the round of applause for Lohse as we head to break. Mitchell Boggs, his 36th appearance, and a record of 1-1. ERA is just over 2. He'll come in with the bases loaded for the Rockies and one down.
It's been the kind of game that we've seen Victor Marte in the past. Marte's been a guy that Mike Matheny likes to use with runners on base, but Mitchell Boggs has been an 8th inning pitcher for him and done a very nice job. Always capable of the strikeout.
Here is Dexter Fowler, first plate appearance tonight.
Yeah, Dan, every reliever doesn't have to be a strikeout capable guy, but you need to have a few of them that can come in a situation like this, and you get the sense that they may be able to notch a couple of strikeouts.
Back to Boggs, to the plate, out there, out at first. It's a double play. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And by Taco Bell. Taco Bell, live Mas. It's turned out to be just a gorgeous night for baseball. The heat has stayed away. 84 degrees our game time temperature, so a little break from the 100-degree temperatures that we saw over the weekend and earlier today. A And the Cardinals have themselves an 8-2 lead after the double play. Mitchell Boggs was able to start to Molina and then down to first. A look at our Schnucks difference maker tonight. Matt Holliday 2 for 2 with a solo home run. Single walk. A little bit of everything here with Holliday and what he's done against the organization that originally drafted him. That was a slide at second base to break up a double play. He would go deep later in the game. Just a rocket out to left. They're having some fun tonight inside that dugout. First pitch is strike 2. Holliday underway here in the home half of the 8th. Cardinals and Rockies with 9 hits aside. St. Louis with the 8-2 lead. 0-1 pitch. Taken down and in. 1 ball and 1 strike. Kyle Loesch 105 pitches, 70 strikes. 7 1/3 innings, 2 runs, 9 hits, walked 2, strikes out 5. You were talking about the Rockies and trying to get ahead in counts with their pitching staff. Loesch, for the most part, was able to do that tonight. 24 of 33 first pitch strikes.
When I worked for Dan O'Dowd with the Cleveland Indians, he was the minor league director at the time. He asked me day one of work, he said, what do you think's the most important thing for pitchers to track? And I said, well, I think first pitch strikes. He said, okay, I want you to do it all year long and tell me how they do.
Is that right?
It is. So I had to do a report on every pitch.
This was at the minor league level.
Minor league level.
What level?
This was at A-ball level back in '92.
And a lot of times, to set it up, Rick, I mean, A-ball guys at times can have those power arms, but they can't locate. So percentage-wise, what do you think it was?
Well, if it was 70%, that was really good. If you threw 70% first pitch strikes, that became kind of our target goal. And hard to get there. I mean, that's a lot. That's really good. And there's some guys that will actually pitch a little backwards. They'll tease you off the plate, even try to get you to swing at a first pitch if you're over aggressive, and that's not all bad. But I think 70% is a good target, and very seldom would guys hit it, but our best pitchers would.
And all of a sudden they were at AA and AAA, and
I waved bye-bye to them. Yeah.
That's it out of play, and there's 2 strikes on Beltran. Once you get to AA, it just seems like now more than ever, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're at AA, you know, you're as close as some of the AAA guys, undoubtedly.
No question.
To getting to that major league level. And more guys are making that jump. And Oscar Taveras, you know, is on the cusp of being in the big leagues.
Left-handed hitting outfielder. We mentioned he was named the player of the month. The Cardinals minor league system. Had 3 hits, including a home run in the All-Star game in AA.
Couple of hops, and Beltran is out. Scoop it first by Kadire. Second time he's done that tonight. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the world champion St. Louis Cardinals. Bam. 438 feet off the bat of this man, Alan Craig. 2-run homer earlier tonight. Would you agree with that, though? I mean, AA guys seem to be getting that call a little bit more than what we saw even 10 years ago.
No question. I think a lot of AAA guys are insurance players, ex-big leaguers, been around a long time, just in case kind of guys. And you get somebody that's an exciting prospect, I think AA is where you put them. And that's really always been true. But I think if you've got the right guy figuring it out at AA, they're not afraid to call you up. And again, it's based on need.
Colton Wong is very close. We understand. Oscar Taveras, Trevor Rosenthal's another name that really impressed the coaching staff in spring training as Craig hits another. Center field. Did he get enough? Gone!
We're going to start calling that Craig's Landing.
That's 800 feet of home runs tonight.
And the receiving line.
This guy is something, huh? So 2 home runs tonight, both to center field for Alan Craig. 9-2 St. Louis. Third multi-home run game for Alan Craig in his career. A swing and a miss by Yachty. And it's 1-2. Molina tonight has a single and a run scored. Career best in home runs and RBIs for Alan Craig. Molina, liner out to left. Catch made by Gonzalez. We head to the 9th, and it's all St. Louis in game 1 of this 4-game set. It's 9-2.
Cards lead at 9-2 as we head to the 9th in St. Louis. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, Pat Paris and Al Roboski will be at Lumiere Place, deep inside the numbers as to why you should vote for David Freese. He'll break down Kyle Loesch's night, and we'll also have another edition of Mic'd Up. Big night for Alan Craig. A couple of bombs in this one. We go back to the booth, and Dan and Rick, guys.
Thanks, Jim. Good work as always. Alan Craig, 3 RBIs on the night. A couple of home runs, now 13 on the season for him, and both long ones to center. Michael Clato will pitch the 9th for St. Louis. Mitchell Boggs came on in the 8th inning and got 2 very important outs. Got our favorite double play, the 1-2-3 double play, and now Clato, with a little more breathing room for St. Louis, will pitch the 9th, and he has a 9-2 lead.
You think about Clato, if he could ever find the strike zone with consistency, and maybe it's just a matter of time before that would happen, you would have yourself a very effective, hard-throwing right-hander.
Last time we saw him, he struck out 3 Pirates in 1 inning. Boom, boom, boom. This is easy. We'll see if he can build on that. Yachty does not like what he saw in the first 2 pitches. Maybe trying to make an adjustment for him.
Two balls and no strikes on Rosario. 2-1.
Times where a catcher can see a pitcher falling off to the first base side before anybody else can. Before the pitching coach can see it, before the manager can see it, before the pitcher knows it.
High fly ball out to deep left, and this ball is gone. It's a home run. Into the Rockies bullpen to make it 9-3. 14th home run for Rosario.
Fastball, middle of the plate.
down in the zone, about 96 miles an hour, and it went out a little faster than that.
Oh, and 2. Next to Herrera. You think about Clado, and it's the hard-throwing right-hander, mid to high 90s, triple digits. We've seen that before. But he struggles with that pitch right there. Slider and location. And at this level, you know, going back to what we were talking about before, you don't do that at this level, you get hit.
And it comes and goes with him. I think there are times where he does have it.
Good point.
And so you know it's there. And that's the teaser for you. That's actually the hope for you, that he's going to be able to figure that out and get there. And still so kind of young and inexperienced. I think there's a time where it's all going to click for him. Certainly has a big upside because of the live arm that he has.
Swing and a miss.
Here's the off-speed pitch.
Top of the 9th, and Jason Giambi. Long career in the big leagues. Shift is on for Giambi, and he's been very good again, Rick, as a pinch hitter. You'd have to think that Giambi would be coveted at the trade deadline if you're looking for a little pop off the bench.
5 for 14 as a pinch hitter. He has a home run, so he knows how to put a good at bat in late in the game. And you know, I think that's the kind of guy you want off your bench. I would agree wholeheartedly with you. I think there's a team that's going to say, look, we play a lot of close games, say we are good pitching staff, but we get down to that 7th, 8th, and 9th. We don't have any pop off our bench. And he may be a guy that's available and could fit that bill.
Here's a 1-1. 1 and 2. Giambi, a former MVP. Big numbers with Oakland, then with the Yankees. Resides in Las Vegas. Worked out all offseason with Troy Tulowitzki and Carlos Gonzalez. 2-2 pitch. Got him. Second strikeout for Clado. Two away here in the top of the 9th, and a 9-3 St. Louis lead.
Our Budweiser player of the game, Kyle Loesch. Certainly could have given it to Alan Craig, but how about the job Loesch did? A couple of runs, 7 in the 3rd innings. And another quality start for Kyle Loesch.
Marco Scutaro. Pitch at 96 from Clado. Cardinals made the move over the weekend. Eduardo Sanchez, Sam Freeman. Liner into right and a base hit to extend the ball game. Extends it to Carlos Gonzalez, 2 for 3. Pair of singles. He's already won a batting title. His average right now is at .340. 2 outs and a runner at first. They'll play behind that runner and he'll take second base. Fielder's indifference. 1-0 pitch from Michael Clado. Freeze giving chase. No play. One pitch. 1-2. Ground ball right side. Oh, what a play by Craig. How about that? 2 home runs and a gem to end it. What a play by Alan Craig.
Good effort defensively right there by Alan Craig, but his offense was part of the difference as well. 2 home runs on the night.
The final 9-3. Don't go away. Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live postgame show is next.
Good things come to those who wait. 3 hours and 12 minutes later, it's a Cardinal lopsided victory, 9-3 over the Rockies. Al Roboski and I here at Lumiere Place, ready to break it all down. Hum, what are your thoughts?
I thought it was a very well-pitched game by Kyle Loesch. Plenty of offense. Very interesting that they never got a hit with runners in scoring position, but they scored 9 runs, and they played good defense. So just a good all-around game, something to build on.
Certainly is. So they take game 1 of the 4, and coming up on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, the Redbirds continue their final push to the All-Star break as they welcome the Rockies to Busch Stadium for this 4-game set. We'll break down game 1, plus Kyle Loesch on the hill trying to carry into July what he did in June. We'll tell you inside the numbers why he is an all-star snub. Plus we'll take you back to Busch Stadium for Mic'd Up Cardinal player reaction, and we'll put on our campaign hats and tell you why you should vote for Freeze. Welcome to the Fox family. Aaron Andrews, you're welcome to visit Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live anytime, and it's next.